Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's Jordan Andrew. Welcome back to the Massholes with Mics. I feel like Jacqueline's always laughing when we start the show. I really do.
No, just because you're just like, yo, what's going on, everybody?
Look, I have a monotonous voice. You should be used to this by now.
I personally was holding back my laughter because I took a bite out of a Dorito right as you started the intro, and I was like, "Oh shoot!" Like it's just the intro is just gonna be me going, hump, hump. So I was like quietly like trying to chew it.
Welcome to the show,
Kyle.
Welcome aboard, Kyle.
But I digress.
This is the Massholes with Mics podcast. I'm Jordan Leandry, joined as always by Jacqueline Galvin and Jeremy Guerin. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good.
I'm nervous. I'm right for tomorrow, and that's exactly what I should be, Kyle.
And speaking of, we have a special we have a special guest on this show, Kyle Bray, also with us at PrimetimeSportsTalk.com. Kyle, how you doing today?
Pretty good, I don't have a deadline, so I'm chilling.
Beautiful.
Would you like one?
And I am no. And if it means anything, Jeremy, I am not super confident for Game 7, but I'm still confident.
Good. I like that.
I'm still nervous as hell. Like even in Game 6, I was scared, but like I was confident. I needed to get in that mindset where I was like, I texted my friend. I said, I'm not worried right now, and she was like, "What do you mean? I'm so worried." I'm like, "No, I have to be in this mindset. I'm not worried." And then they won. So
I literally went to Game 6 incredibly calm. I don't know why.
I did not, and I don't even really like hockey that much.
You already had it in your mind that they would lose, so it wouldn't matter. You already let.
No, I didn't, because remember on the last show we did, I even said the Bruins will be finishing their season in TD Garden. There will be a Game 7.
I kind of had a feeling that there was going to be a Game 7. I kind of felt, I don't know, I feel like this series needed a Game 7, especially with the way that the last game at the Garden went, Game 5 went. I don't know. I just felt like this deserves a Game 7, and I think that this game is going to be absolutely bonkers.
I think the fact that this went to 7 proves that this series is not rigged, because the NHL would have definitely loved to have had St. Louis win in their home stadium for the first time. The fact that it's going to 7 proves, in my opinion, that it's not rigged.
They would have liked to have Boston win, period. It's a bigger market.
Well, no, but they would have preferred to have St. Louis finally get the win, especially because the story about them being literal last place to winning, bro, their story is so much better. That's why the NHL would totally want them to win. I mean, the refs proved otherwise, but.
Well, did you? I heard something on Dale and Keefe while I was driving home that apparently.
Oh, that's a shame.
Well, no,
Hey.
Dale and Keefe.
The one program left on EI. Don't crap on it.
I don't know. I like OMF too.
Yeah, I listen to Felger, so that way I can yell at him.
You listen to Nate Rollins?
Oh, he's worse. He said that if he had the choice, he wants Game 7 to be in St. Louis, not in Boston.
I mean, I understand that.
The Bruins, if it's in Boston.
I mean, arguably the Bruins' best performances have come in St. Louis.
Yeah.
I mean, their home team's 2-4 in this series.
And St. Louis is better on the road.
Yeah,
that's true. That is
Nate
true.
actually kind of has a point.
Crowd behind me.
I definitely would prefer it to be in the Garden, because this might be the loudest I've ever heard a sport. I mean, I'm not going to be there, obviously. Hopefully, Jacob won't be either.
They've actually done pretty well when he's been there this season.
He went to Game 5 though.
What?
Yeah, I went to Game 5 too, but I also went to Game 1, and Jacob also went to Game 1. So.
Yeah, but one of my friends didn't tweet a picture of the Daddy Nash jersey at Game 1.
Well, yeah,
that's true.
But you know that he was definitely around the place for Game 2.
That's true.
The only bigger piece of filth than the guy who wears the Nash jersey is the guy who retweets it and says it's good.
Yeah, that's true. I feel bad for Evan because he's a good kid.
I'll say though, Jordan, you said that you think it's going to be the loudest that it has ever been in a while. I'll say it though, the loudest I think I've ever heard the Garden happened twice during this series. The first time being when Chara obviously got introduced in Game 5. That was the loudest player introduction I've ever heard. But in Game 1, the loudest moment of the game was when Torrey Krug absolutely decked Matchbox 20 Rob Thomas out of his shoes.
20?
Rob Thomas. They'd scored 3 goals in that game, and it was so loud. Everyone's excited, but in that moment, I had never heard the Garden so loud. Unbelievable.
This is gonna be the loudest I've ever heard an arena that I'm rooting for ever in Boston sports. I feel like because this is the first Game 7 at TD Garden since what 1984.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's been a long.
No. It's the first Game 7 a Boston sports team has hosted in the championship
since the last time the Celtics won against the Lakers. Thanks, Doc.
Yeah. But I feel like this place is going to be going absolutely freaking nuts, and I can't wait. Even though I'm only going to be watching on TV. Hopefully, I still work tomorrow. I work from 3 to 11. I've been texting my boss. Wow,
that's so unfortunate.
I texted my boss with 5 minutes left of Game 6 and said, "Hey, do you mind if I leave it at 8 on Wednesday? Just let me go home. I'm not missing the Bruins game. And if you think I'm going to be focused on work if I'm there from 8 to 11, you're damn wrong. You are damn wrong.
You are a fool."
Honest to God, but we'll see.
I'm opening tomorrow, so I got to work. I think what's going to end up happening is I'm going to work an 11-hour shift. I'm going to go from 6 to 5, and then watch the game afterwards. So I'm going to be dead.
Yeah. Ew, that's so gross.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez, that's
yucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But going into Game 7, a lot of people. It's weird because a lot of people have been talking on Twitter about how they would remove Danton Heinen from the lineup. Which I think at this point is stupid. I mean, you don't do that in Game 7. If anyone you'd be taking out, it would probably be someone like Noel Acciari, but he's been great since Game 5, so it doesn't make no sense to take him out.
I would not touch Noel Acciari.
Yeah, but everyone wants the storyline that Backus raises the cup against his former team, which honestly, having Backus out there, I think improves chances a little bit.
I would rather.
But he'll also raise it too.
You'd rather what?
Oh, I would not rather put Wagner in over Heinen. Wagner hasn't played in 3 weeks.
Wagner's got 2 points in the entire
hasn't played in about 3 months.
Yeah, but he's been on probably the most productive line. He hasn't been showing up. He's been like Charlie Coyle in the regular season. He hasn't been showing up on the score sheet, but the intangibles are there. He's
played really well, and it takes a lot for me to say that Danton Heinen's doing well.
No, I mean honestly, sure, Heinen hasn't done much, but he hasn't been terrible.
I mean, he there's a reason why that third line's been productive. I'm not saying that he's the big part of it, but if he was so bad, that third line would be getting held back by him, and they're not. They're flourishing, in fact. And him defensively has actually been really good in the postseason in general, not just in this series. And I think you don't do something.
I saw someone tweet those stats.
You don't do something so drastic in going into a Game 7. If anyone gets taken out of the game, it'd be Kuhlman, who scored in Game 6. So I think he's basically safe. And if not Kuhlman, it would be Acciari, but he's been great since Game 5. So just
run it back.
You run it back to the same lineup. You might as well. I don't see there being any reason to take Danton Heinen out of the lineup. At least not in Game 7. If you want to do it in Game 6, then maybe, but not tomorrow.
What about?
And Backus will still get to lift the cup. He'll do what Chara did in Game 4 against the Hurricanes, where he'll just be, if the Bruins are winning, he'll go get in his uniform and skate out onto the ice and lift the cup. Because it's David Backus. The guy's been in the league for so long. If the Bruins win the cup, he's gonna be lifting it. There's not a chance that he's gonna oh wait, because I was a healthy scratch. I'm in my suit. He's gonna be out there.
What about Grzelcyk in over Clifton if he's healthy?
No.
I heard Grzelcyk's already ruled out tomorrow.
Yeah, he's still wearing the red shirt.
Yeah, he's
one of those things where clearly the lineup worked in Game 6, and it's Game 7. You don't really want to shake much up.
Just 6 defensemen. Who gives a crap? Grzelcyk is a better option.
Grzelcyk's hurt, and he's not playing tomorrow anyway, so it doesn't matter. Yeah. I mean,
Clifton sure hasn't exactly set the world on fire, but he hasn't been terrible.
No. It's not that he hasn't set the world on fire, Kyle. It's that he's been a detriment for at least 3 out of the 6 games in this series.
He scored in one of them.
3 out of the 6 games, Kyle. And basically everyone on the Bruins has scored. Randy Carlos freaking scored 2 goals in this series. That's
3 wins. He was good.
No.
Hey, I mean, I'll stand by it, though. The Blues have not won a game in which the Bruins have had 6 defensemen.
Finish the game with 6 defensemen.
No, because in the game they started with finish the game with 6 defensemen. And in the game they had 70. The Blues won. So got to roll with 60.
That game was really only 6 defensemen because didn't Clifton only play 6 minutes in that game?
He was a bum.
Maybe I don't even know.
But I mean,
I don't remember.
But yeah, I do if you're going to take Clifton out, it would be for Kampfer. It wouldn't be for Grzelcyk because Grzelcyk's, like I said, he's hurt.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'd rather stick with Clifton.
That too, actually. Give me Camphor over Clifton.
I'd rather have Clifton in there than Camphor. I really would.
Clifton's a bomb.
Let's take Halak out and just dress Clifton. Dress Camphor.
No, let's start Halak tomorrow. No Rask. Let Halak get Game 7.
Okay, Nate Rollins.
Someone said that the other day. They said they wanted to split the reps in the playoffs. Ridiculous.
Oh,
It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
That's outrageous.
They've been doing it all year, Felga. We need to go and talk about starting Halak for Game 5. I'm like, what? Excuse me, sir.
Yaroslav Halak getting in Game 7.
Whoa.
Oh, Lord.
Yourself before you go robotic again on it.
Sorry. My Wi-Fi is terrible.
He's okay now. We're good now.
Okay.
So what were you saying?
It's just like being back in the studio, you know? I have the fuzzy voice.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
No, I was just saying that I'd rather die than have Yaroslav Halak play goalie in this series, and that Tuukka Rask is having one of the best series or best playoffs of a goalie ever I think I've ever seen.
Even if they lose, you get Conn Smythe.
Honestly, I think so. Only because unless Ryan O'Reilly scores in Game 7,
I think
because Ryan O'Reilly is clearly the favorite, and it would have to be like a 1-0 game, I think, too.
Ryan O'Reilly has to be the reason St. Louis wins tomorrow for someone other than Rask to get Conn Smythe, in my opinion.
Yeah, because I don't know. I mean, like they could give it to Binnington, but he got pulled in one game this series.
No, Binnington, no.
Binnington has zero chance of getting Conn Smythe.
No, but like the narrative from like the NHL has been that Binnington's done so well as a rookie. It's like, but like, has he really?
No, he's a product of that big defense core that they have in front of the net. They got some monsters back there.
I'll also say I have never loathed like a team in the playoffs as much as I have the Blues. Like I cannot wait to not have to play the St. Louis Blues anymore. It is just so frustrating playing against them.
I completely disagree.
Coming from someone who doesn't watch hockey a lot and just like watching them, like I will forever hate the Blues now that I've watched this series just because of how dirty that they play.
Oh, like, I'm not even talking about that.
I don't mind the Blues. Like it's just been like an annoying series. Plus their fans suck. Like they just look for reasons to fight with me on Twitter because like I don't know. That's maybe just be a personal problem, but I just will never like the Blues ever again. They're just annoying me now. And
I wasn't even saying that from a them being dirty standpoint. Like playing against the Blues is so frustrating. Like their forecheck is so good that like in the games the Bruins have lost, like it has been painful watching them try to break the puck out of the zone, and especially in the power play. Even in games they've played well, the way that they line up, they put all their guys in the blue line, and the Bruins have no idea how to get by them. It is so frustrating.
Yeah. I feel like they don't really possess the puck in their own zone very well. Like throughout the series, my dad keeps yelling about it. He's like, "Get the puck out of the zone and get a good possession." I'm like, calm down.
That's mainly on the power play, though. Have you seen how bad their power play has looked at the time?
Game 5. That might have been one of the worst power plays I've ever seen in my entire life. And I've played on some bad hockey teams. I've seen some bad power plays, but that was atrocious. They didn't get into the zone till what, like 40 seconds left on the power play? That's inexcusable. But it's also at the same time, it's just great defense by St. Louis.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at this game and I'm saying, I don't know. I'm just worried about what Bruins team shows up, to be honest with you. Because
I was going to say that, yeah.
I don't think the Blues can beat them. But the problem is we haven't gotten the same performance 2 games in a row yet from this team in the series. Their best game by far was clearly Game 6. Can they duplicate that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of it's going to come down to how the tempo of like not even the first period per se, but the second period. Because and even in Game 5, the Bruins had an unbelievable first period. They just couldn't find the net. I think their 2 keys will really be, or no, I'll give 3 because that's a better number. Like getting the breakout, they got to be able to break the puck out of the zone. They can't be making sloppy turnovers in the neutral zone because that's what killed them a lot in Games 5, Games 4, and Game 2. Like sloppy turnovers in the neutral zone. And then lastly would be they need to pounce on the rebounds that Binnington gives up, because he gives up the juiciest rebounds I've seen any goalie give up in a playoff series. Like so frustrating. They need they could have been up 3-0 at the end of the first if they just had a guy in front of the net. Like there were so many times where the puck would bounce off his blocker or his pad and would go straight through like right in between the hash marks, and no one was there. I was like, guys, that's literally mite hockey. Someone needs to be in front of the net when you're in the offensive zone.
Too often, there's only one guy that will do that, though, and that's Charlie Coyle. Because let me tell you, and I know Kyle obviously.
Or Sean Corrali.
You know this better than we would probably, but Patrice Bergeron just looks like a shell of himself right now. He's clearly hurt.
Bro, I don't. Is he playing?
Yeah.
Is Patrice Bergeron playing? Is Patrice Bergeron playing? Like, I haven't noticed him. He can't win a face-off. He can't contribute on offense. Like, it's been brutal.
He's been a power play merchant all postseason. He's
the only reason why we've heard of Brad Marchand to this point was because he scored in Game 6, and granted it was on a 5-on-3. I don't think Pasternak's goal, I believe, was the first point by the top line on 5-on-5 play in the series.
Yeah, it was the first point. Well, the first 2 points, I think Bergeron assisted on it. But yeah, Krejci, Pastrnak, and Bergeron all got their first points in 5-on-5 play in this series in Game 6.
And I believe DeBrusk got the first of the second line in Game 5 when he scored. Which I was glad that out of all people that were going to score in that game, that it was DeBrusk, because I feel like
really
he's
well
one of those guys.
Too.
Yeah, no, as I said to my dad after the game, I was like, I'm really glad that DeBrusk scored, because I felt like he'd been just such a shell of himself, and he needed something to ignite him and get him back in.
Tomorrow feels like a Jake DeBrusk game.
It feels like a Charlie McAvoy game. I need him to step up too.
He did have the save of the game in Game 6.
Oh my God, that's
true, but that's the only thing he's done this whole series, other than get a couple penalties.
And the power play goal he had in Game 1 to tie it.
Oh yeah.
But other than that,
Game 1 feels like 2 months ago.
It does. It does feel like a long time ago.
I honestly feel like I feel like we played the Blue Jackets literally last year. I don't even remember the Blue Jackets series right now. I just remember it was annoying because the Blue Jackets fans were super oh, look at us, we beat the Lightning, and oh, who cares if it went off the net? It still counts as a goal.
Yeah. Speaking of Bruins defenseman, a guy who's been an absolute stud this series has been Brandon Carlo. He's been an absolute menace for St. Louis. I feel like someone called in again to Dale and Keep, because I was listening to the entire ride home. They were talking about Colton Parayko, Alex Pietrangelo, and the guy said that he thinks Brandon Carlo's outplayed he's been the best of the three. I don't think he's been better than Pietrangelo, but I would argue he's been better than Parayko.
Parayko's probably the best in this series.
You know what bothers me? On NBC, they say his name Paranko. There's an N in there. There's no N. I don't know why they say it like that.
NBC loves to fuck names up.
Because there's so many. Oh, we're allowed to swear on this?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
I almost said it a couple times. And I was
We're going to rip the Band-Aid off for you.
Oh, thank you.
Get ready to have
I agree. I agree with Carlo being probably one of the better defensemen in this series. I mean, I wasn't sure I don't think anyone was sure what you were going to get from him this playoffs, because this is his first time playing in the playoffs. He's been hurt the last 2 times, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, and it was the last week of the season that killed him both times. The concussion against Washington, the broken leg versus Florida.
Yeah, oh my God. The broken leg versus Florida was so frustrating. They actually would have had a chance last year if he hadn't went down.
Yep.
And another interesting thing about
it was a fractured fibula or something, or tibia, I don't remember. One of those two.
Fun fact, and I don't know if anyone's pointed this out to you guys, but if the Bruins had lost Game 6, then their season in the last 2 years would have ended on basically on a no call trip that led to a game-winning goal the game before they lost. Because remember Krug in overtime against Tampa in Game 4 last year?
Yeah, it was ugly. And then
basically the same event. Or was it? Oh no, it was McAvoy. I thought it was Krug. No, Krug got hurt earlier in that game, and then McAvoy got tripped in overtime. I was at that game. It happened right in front of me. I was so angry.
I mean, you should have been. Let's be honest. That was a terrible call.
It was, and the thought of their season ending basically because of no calls 2 years in a row was going to kill me, especially because it was in the cup final. But I'm really glad that they managed to turn it around in Game 6.
You do bring up a good point, though, because if you notice what happened in Game 6 with the Marchand penalty, the slew foot on Pietrangelo that he sold pretty well.
Slow down, Eddie Olczyk.
You don't think Pietrangelo sold that call?
A little bit. But it wasn't like egregious. I think it's not a penalty because it wasn't called against Achari. But I think if you call that penalty against Achari, I'm not going to be opposed to that.
I mean, I think it's a penalty. They just should have called it against Achari. But also, I was just making funny because Eddie Olczyk, anytime a Bruins player fell over, he's like, "Oh, look at your goal. He's selling the call." I'm like, "Oh, my God, dude. I'm going to throttle you."
Murder this man.
He said that anytime someone fell in the game. I'm like, dude, sometimes people just fall over. They're not trying to, sometimes people lose their balance.
Right.
Ice can be slippery sometimes.
Yeah, literally.
Jeremy, you're bringing something up?
Yeah. So the Blues went on the power play after the Pietrangelo sell job. And that was the exact same power play that McAvoy made the great save off of Rask's back, which, first of all, how the heck do you feel if the thing's going down your back if you're Tuukka? That shows you how much of the zone he's in, I guess. But either way, if they had scored and they had won the game because of that goal, Bruins fans could have said, look at this. Achari doesn't get called for a slew foot, and people actually did think he embellished, which he didn't. Pietrangelo does embellish a slew foot, gets the penalty, and the Blues win the series because they made the call. That's how butthurt Boston fans probably rightfully should have been if that had happened.
That would have definitely taken the whole NFC Championship game ending and thrown it out the window as the worst ending in a series or game, big game in the.
But then again, no one would have been mad about it.
No,
because it's Boston.
Other than Boston, no one would have been mad about it.
Yeah.
Well, no, I saw someone tweeted so we don't complain about non-calls when it happens against Boston, and all the replies were like, well, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, fair enough. I mean, at least you're being honest.
Yeah, I guess. But you guys bring up an interesting point talking about the officials. So now we're going into Game 7, obviously. So the season ends tomorrow, regardless of who wins.
Game 7?
Shut up.
Wow.
So the season ends tomorrow, regardless of who wins. Now, St. Louis is going out for blood every single game, and it's been evident they've been dirty. And I don't think anybody, no matter what team you're rooting for, unless you're rooting for the Blues, would disagree with that. But
you would be surprised.
How much does this play into the officiating tomorrow? Do they put their whistles away? And how much do the Blues go even harder because they have a chance to win the series and suspensions really don't matter if you have a ring at the end of the day?
Well, it's going to be the same crew as Game 6 from what I read.
Shannon said it will be.
Which is good, I think, because I think they reffed a pretty good game. They also were the refs for the other games that the Bruins had lost, minus Game 5. But no, I mean, certainly I feel like they're going to bring a level of intensity. I'm hoping it won't go like it did in Game 4 where the Blues come out and they're super aggressive, they're hitting, and the Bruins just can't keep up. Because when that happened, originally I was like, oh, it's just like Carolina in Game 3. When Carolina came out super aggressive, played the body a lot, then they got gassed and ended up blowing the game. But, I mean, St. Louis is just objectively a better team than Carolina. Still don't know how the Hurricanes got as far as they did. What a
joke. Me neither. It was
a nice rest for the Bruins. I'm not going to question it.
It really was. it really was. But it was mostly about, will the Blues go out there, and if they go out and start throwing headshots and say they knock Bergeron out of the game, or they go out and they knock McAvoy out of the game. They go out and they knock McAvoy out of the game, though, or Carlo out of the game, and you're talking about dropping the Bruins down to 5-4 defensemen, and sure, maybe Robert Thomas gets ejected from the game, but at the end of the day, you're substituting McAvoy or Carlo for Robert Thomas. The Blues take that advantage any day of the week.
I think the Blues, they're definitely going to be more physical, but I don't think they're going to
possible.
It is if they actually start.
They already have.
I think it's possible. They could actually make every hit go to the head. They haven't done every single one.
But then at that point, they have called some hits to the heads in the series. I feel like, especially with this crew, I feel like they're going to be more they're going to be looking out for this a little bit more since the Blues have had 2 people suspended for it. At this point, I'm really hoping that that's how it's going to go. I don't think that that's going to be how this game's decided, though.
I hope not.
How many penalties do you think going into Game 7, though, also, in terms of the Chris Rooney, Gord Dwyer, the guys who were the refs in Game 6 and are probably going to do it in Game 7, the best thing I can say about them is that I didn't know.
Boston.
So, as long as they don't get in the way, that's fine. But if you're the Bruins, you can't rely on maybe more than I'd say 2 power plays. That's the max you're going to get in this game.
You got to score.
Yeah,
Super obvious.
I was gonna look at the last game to look at how many penalties there were, because I know there were 2 delay games. Those that don't really count because like those are not really subjective. Like they're gonna happen. Let's see. So delay game, there were 2. So then 1, 2, 3, 4. Then there were just a crap ton in the third period, but there were like 7 penalties I think in that game.
4-2, I believe. 4-2, right? 4-2 in terms of in favor of the Blues, I believe.
That's something.
The Blues definitely had the edge in power play.
Well, the Blues had 4 penalties in the third period, so
yeah. But I'm pretty sure that they had more penalties going into the third, which was
it was six to. I'm not counting delay a game. 1, it was 5-3.
How delay a game?
Then it was 6-4
in total.
Yeah. Because the Bruins had Corrali got the delay a game. Chara had interference, which was so stupid.
That was a dumb.
He got called interference for being stronger than Perron. Marchand with the trip, McAvoy with the trip, and then Clifton got a roughing one like in the final seconds when all that went on. And then the Blues had those 4 penalties like in the last minute of the game, and then they just had the boarding and then the delay game. Which, oh my god, that was so perfect because once they got on the power play, the Bruins, I was a little nervous because they hadn't been as sharp on the power play. Once they went on the 5-on-3, I was like, all right, there's no way they don't score here. There's literally not a chance they don't score.
And thankfully, it was Marchand too. Maybe that'll get him going into Game 7.
Yeah, not an even strength point, but I'll take a point nonetheless.
Scored a goal that was on a goalie because his only goal of the series came in an empty netter in Game 1. So
yeah,
I was working at that time and I was getting ready to close for the night, and I'm setting up the truck stuff for tomorrow, and I'm watching the game in the back with the volume on full blast because my boss was about to come in and he wanted to watch it too. So Marshall scores, and I get spoiled because Sean goes yeet in the chat, and I go, oh, something's coming here. I see the goal, and I yell, let's fucking go! Sprint down the back way where all of our inventory is and jump in the air and almost nail my head on a dangling exit sign. Scared the lady in Omni half to death. And I was like, oh, yeah, I feel bad, but at the same time, this is worth it.
Yeah, my stream, the way that we don't have cable, we have Hulu. So, like...
Ooh, Hulu has live sports.
Yeah, so that's what we do.
Giannis.
But our stream is a minute and a half behind. So this entire series, I've been getting spoiled by you guys' texts. And it's been, I don't mind it. I honestly don't mind it because I know that something is going to happen and I can emotionally prepare myself. But at the same time, it's like, it gets annoying.
Find another house to watch Game 7.
I know, I really need to. But my thing is, I wanted to go into Boston tomorrow to watch the game, but at the same time, every time that they have won a game, I've been sitting on my couch on my laptop. So I think I have to do that tomorrow instead of going into Boston.
Ready? Yeah. Jacqueline and going into Boston are not compatible at all.
So Jacqueline needs
I'm confused.
It took me a second.
It's from Family Guy.
Oh, okay.
Maybe if I could find that clip on YouTube, I can put it into the edited version that goes on Spreaker, and I can put that scene in there too.
It's been so long since I've had a Family Guy reference in my life. It's good to be back.
Why is there no hole in this wall?
No break.
Okay.
I haven't heard someone say that in so long. It's good. It's good to be back.
It's been too long.
Too long.
Too damn long.
All right, so and another thing though, real quick about the Bruins before we move into another topic is obviously obviously this is the biggest game of Tuukka Rask's career, because if he goes out and doesn't perform well tomorrow, the narrative doesn't change on him. He's great throughout the entire postseason, but the biggest game, the butthole shrinks even more. I make that reference at least once a show.
Hang on. How are they losing though? If they lose 2,
no, I'm saying if he doesn't play badly, I'm saying if he goes out and doesn't play well, like if he goes out and gives up like 4 goals and lose 4-3, and his save percentage is like under 90%, then he just plays poorly.
I agree, but even as you say that, I just can't see that happening. I can't.
Yeah,
I can't see it happening, but I'm just saying, like, hypothetically speaking, if he goes out and he sucks and they lose because of him, then the narrative doesn't change on him. The big game, he couldn't win it for him. And at the end of the day,
but I feel like he has done a lot to prove his doubters wrong, purely because he hasn't lost them a game yet this series, this whole playoffs. Like, arguably, you could say Game 5, what definitely wasn't his. No, not Game 5. Game 4 wasn't his best game.
Crap.
But at the same time, like, he really did not get any help from the defense in that game. Like, the 2 goals that the 2 of them were just pretty lucky bounces. The first goal he had to get, like, come on, like a wraparound Tuca, you got to get there. But he's basically dispelled all those demons. But I do think I agree with you. Like, he definitely needs to get this one to, like, fully win over, like, people like Nate who say he can't get it done. He's like, oh, he did it.
Say he can't get it done.
He did it against Toronto, which was awesome. He did it against Columbus, and he did it against Carolina. He's got to finish it out, and he did a
Glory intermission. Now they reconnect.
What?
Your thing cut again. He's done a great, and then it cut.
I said he's done a great job against. I don't remember. I don't know where I cut off, but I was basically saying, like, he's done a great job in every elimination game he's had so far. Like, he needs to get this last one, and I think easily that I don't think anyone can doubt him in Boston ever again.
This is really like David Price winning Game 5 against the Dodgers.
No, honestly, it is.
It's the same thing.
I'm hoping he doesn't have that first inning home run scare though.
Yeah, Bruins get up like 3-1, say, and then he gives it a softie. And you're like, oh no, here we go.
Well, one thing that's angered me a lot is Tuukka Rask's had a lot of games that should have been shutouts. Like, Game 6 should have been a shutout. Like, that goal that he ended up letting in was so dumb. Like, oh my god!
No! He almost robbed them. That was not his fault.
No, we're not blaming him, but like the goal itself was dumb.
Like, the fact that ended up being a goal is just so frustrating. Like, that was such a fine margin. Are you kidding me? Like, he's been so lights out, and that's how he gets beat. The one game against was it Game 5 against Columbus where, like, he kind of capitulated a little bit, but, like, they were on, like, really unlucky bounces and stuff like that. The one where, like, I think it was 2-0, and then they scored that one where, like, it barely went in. Was that game 5 against Columbus?
I think so. Was that the one that was, like, off of Grizzly?
Yeah. So it was that one where it's like he was so close to having a shutout, but that one goal sort of let in the floodgates a little bit. And then I think it was game
3 also that were, like, off of McAvoy and then off of Carlo.
Yeah.
So
I guess the thing is, even when he's been quote unquote bad, it hasn't even been necessarily his fault the whole time. And then obviously take that with a grain of salt coming from me, then, like, one of the biggest Tuukka defenders in the world who will say it's never his fault. But, like, I really feel like the times when the Bruins have lost, it really has been on the defense, not on Tuukka.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of Tuukka doubters are starting to come to their senses a bit.
Oh, easily.
But like I said, the narrative doesn't change if somehow, some way, he goes out there and sucks tomorrow. And I don't see that happening. Knock on wood. I'm already doing it.
Would the narrative change if they lose and he wins the Conn Smythe?
No, I don't. I think it would.
I would hate that for him.
Oh, I would hate it.
It'd be the biggest like moral victory ever, and I would hate it.
He would smash that thing with his stick. If they lost and he won the Conn Smythe trophy would be destroyed by Tuukka Rask.
No. He gets back into the locker room. Hey guys, so we lost, but hey, I was the best.
He would shove that in their face and be like, "Where's the cup? Look what I got. Where's the damn cup? Look what I did, and look what you guys did to blow it." Like, I've never wanted.
I don't think he'll ever say that.
No, dude. I don't know. I don't know if he would say that, but, like, I feel like if he did, he would be so justified, because if there's one person that deserves to win the Stanley Cup, it's Tuukka Rask right now. I know he's already won it. He won it in 2011. Well, Chara won it in 2011, but it's one of those things where it's like not everyone, but, like, so many people have been on his case. He finally steps up, plays like the elite goaltender we all know that he is, and then if he falls short in the last friggin' game, that would be the most crushing thing in the world. And if I was Tuukka, I would not speak to my teammates for like a month because I would be so mad. I would be so mad.
Demands trade.
Seriously, he's been so dialed in this whole playoffs. Like, they cut to him in the little pregame intro, and you just look at his face, like, he's just straight face, dialed in. Like, it's one of those things where I mean, I've got goosebumps looking at his expression before the games because I just know he's so dialed in.
It really is exciting to watch. And I think Jeremy, before the year even started, before the NHL season even started, didn't you have him like 8th or 9th on your list of goalies?
Yeah, let me look at this.
I'm actually curious because I remember
going into the year, I think I had him 7.
I'm going to check mine. I wonder if I still have mine. It's from like the very beginning of the school year.
Quick, guys. Yeah. Actually, we don't have to fill time. We can just cut this out.
Yeah. Real quick, I'm looking at mine. Where is it?
I'm looking at my list too, guys.
Yeah.
Ben Scrivens, number 1 for me. He had that 60 save game against like some team like 4 years ago. Number 1. Although I think he's playing in the AHL now, which is kind of sad.
It's kind of because he's ass.
In case anyone's wondering, the women's national team's up 1-0.
Hang on,
an update.
What is it? 3rd minute?
I don't know.
Real fast. I just looked. I just went through one of my things and I found my NHL playoff seedings. And for the Western Conference, I had the Jets, Preds, and Blues. For the Pacific, I had Sharks, Kings, Ducks, and then Avs and Stars with a wild card. So I got those 2 right.
Cool.
I can't find my.
Where's Vegas?
Vegas was not on there. Remember, that was my big thing.
I was joking.
Okay, sorry, my bad.
I can't find my list, but I feel like you definitely still have yours. I might not have even done one. So I remember I have my power. Oh, here's my power rankings. I had Tampa, Washington, Nashville, Pittsburgh, Winnipeg, Boston, Vegas, Toronto, Minnesota, San Jose. That was my top 10.
Where was St. Louis? Were they not? Or did you only do 10?
St. Louis was not in my top 10. So,
I mean,
I only did 10. Yeah, and I think that was justifiable. Like nobody saw this coming.
Where in the world did it go?
They were in last place in 2019. Like it's one of those things where it's like the fact that they've gotten this far is ridiculous. The thing that really sunk that in for me is before the game they're like interim head coach Craig Berube. I'm like, wait, he's still the interim, and they're in the friggin' stand. They didn't give him the full job yet. Are you kidding me? What are they gonna be? They're gonna have a performance review. It's like, you did a good job filling in, but sorry.
We took 2 penalties in the Cup final, so you're fired.
I think it'd be kind of funny if they win and then they're like, yeah, sorry, you're not getting the job.
Yeah.
And he's like, what else did I need to do?
Yeah, go pound sand, Chief.
I don't have it. Where did it go?
I'd be okay with him pounding sand. I kind of don't like him.
Yeah, me neither.
It's bothering me.
Yeah, I couldn't.
He is bothering me.
Yeah, but I know Rask was not in your top 5, and that's all I know.
Yeah, I know that for
crazy because he's turned into like. And he actually didn't even play like a top 10 goalie in the regular season for the most part. Like people would argue Halak
took over for a couple weeks, but then the thing is Halak fell off, and Rask had that unbelievable streak against when they had the winning streak where he only allowed like a couple like actual like regulation goals, something like that.
Yeah, he went nuts.
He only had like 1 regulation loss for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he went nuts. He still statistically had one of his worst years of his NHL career, and he's backed it up with this. Yeah, he didn't play as much, which in all seriousness is probably a big reason why he's playing so well in the playoffs, is because Halak was able to take so many games from him in the regular season.
Oh yeah, you go back to the years like 2014. Well, they didn't make it 15, 16, but like 17, when they were in the playoffs and they just capitulated and couldn't get past the second round. It was because guys like Tuukka Rask were so tired that they had been playing so much. He had been playing so much because they didn't have a viable backup. When he had the infamous clinch butthole game.
No, that ball was not clenched. That ball.
Yeah, I know.
She was pooping everywhere.
In that season too, he was so worn out. He had played so much because they didn't have that dependable backup. I believe I said earlier on, like right before the season started, I said that Halak was the best offseason move that the Bruins did because he could be a starter somewhere else, and that gives Rask it allows him to take more games off because they know they have a guy who's still NHL starter quality as the backup. So they're willing to give him more.
Yeah, great.
I've said that multiple times.
Looking at the last 5 years of Tuukka Rask's career, he's played 70 games, which was 14-15. So that was the first year they missed the playoffs. 15-16, he played 64. 16-17, he played 65. They lost in the first round. 17-18, he played 54. They lost in the second round. This year, played 46 games and 1 win away from the Cup final.
Yeah.
So I kind of just
load management.
I kind of just threw down some names that I thought were better, and I was trying to remember what my list was. I think I got the 6 names. So I had Price, who's probably
not anymore.
Quick, Fleury, Hellebuck, Vasilevsky, and Holtby.
And all of them lost in the first round or missed the playoffs.
Huh?
And
What
then
about
all of them lose
what about
the first round or missed the playoffs?
Rene was second. Rene was right behind him.
Okay, because see me, like, two of my favorite goalies ever in like the NHL have been Rask and Rene, so I would have had Rask 1 and Rene number 2. Because I'm such a homer.
A little bit of a homer pick, yeah.
Oh, bro, dude, I think I still have my Pekka Rene jersey. I love him.
So, any last thoughts on the Bruins before we shift gears into something a little bit more, serious in a sense?
I got a good segue. Who should be the friggin' fan banner captain tomorrow?
Oh, that should be the man, the myth, the legend.
Tom Brady.
Can I say one thing before we move on?
No.
Charlie McAvoy's quote after Game 6, where he was like so emotional talking about this team, is how I feel going into Game 7. Like,
oh,
do we lose him again?
We lost you again.
Yeah. Repeat your thought.
Well, I was saying that, like, his quote where he was getting really emotional about like how they didn't want the season to end because like they love this group. It's like that's the energy I'm taking into Game 7 because I love this group that they've had. It's basically the same group they had in 2017 or 2018, and I just it would just leave such a bad taste in my mouth if they didn't go out with the cup because this has been such a great group of guys to watch.
Not only if they didn't go out with the cup, they lost to this little pathetic franchise. Good God. I couldn't handle it. I've been hating this team for about 2 months now, and I won't I'm not about to stop now. Oh, my word. If I see friggin' Alex Pietrangelo with his hand on the cup, I'm going to kill myself. Although, to be fair, I've never stuck around for a enemy fan celebration or trophy presentation. So
I'm trying to think if I ever have. No,
I have not. I know I have not.
I'm not planning on it this time.
I wouldn't even stick around when Peyton Manning won his last one. I was gone. I was like, no. Have a good night, everyone.
Once Cam Newton fumbled, I shut the game off.
So which time?
Well, the time he didn't dive on it. I was like, that's over.
But yeah, that's my Game 7 energy is like, there's no dickheads in this locker room. They're such a great group of guys. I just really want them to go out with the cup.
100%. So anyone got a prediction for who's going to be Game 7 flag banner captain?
It's got to be Brady.
Yeah, it has to be Brady.
It has to be. Like, I can't imagine anyone else that would like live up to the occasion other than Tom Brady. And like Tom Brady has been involved in some of their clips.
You can't think of anybody who would live up to a bigger occasion, Kyle. Nobody that would live up to a bigger occasion.
Yeah, buddy. He got shot 2 days ago.
Dude.
And he just went under another surgery yesterday, and it says that he will be in the hospital, and I think it said ICU for at least a few more days. So
I don't care.
My favorite primetime moment of all time. Have you met this man? Have you been shot?
Very simple.
Sean hasn't been shot to our knowledge though, so he can't speak on it.
It's a good point. All you have to do is put
Rangers fans.
Jeez. Freaking, this is getting cut anyway. Let's see.
You gonna answer it, boss?
I don't know. We're gonna answer in an Asian accent. I don't know the number.
Oh boy.
Hello? Hello? Who are you? What are you telling me about my pet friend Nuta? Go and fuck off.
It's like, hi, yes, this was Chase Bank. Well, your identity's been stolen.
Something about some electric notice, whatever.
Wait, before we continue, the USA is already up 3-0. So we're good.
Thailand absolutely blows.
Yeah.
What does it say? What they should do is they should have Ortiz do like a video or something like that. But there's no way that he's going to be in the building. Like people that think he's going to be in the building, bro. Like seriously,
I legitimately think he'll be there.
Thank you.
I think there'll be 3. I think they'll somehow scrape Tim Thomas out of his damn shack as well. I think it'll be Brady.
It's gunfire to get.
It'll be Brady. I think it'll be Brady, David Ortiz, and Tim Thomas.
Tim Thomas is going to be poking out of one of his windows like this.
Bro, David Ortiz is going to be in like a wheelchair. Like, there's not a chance that he's going to be there.
Wheel him in there. Wheel him in there. Wheel him in there for pregame. Wheel him right out as soon as it's over.
If it's not Brady, I feel like it could be like Larry Bird.
Interesting.
It could be both.
I made that suggestion of my. I made
Get friend of the program, Johnny Busick, to do it.
It should be a great from each of the Boston sports teams. That's
no. See, okay, so
I thought the great from the Red Sox, David Ortiz.
If they can't wheel David Ortiz in, it should be like Tim Thomas. Or honestly, though, they should just bring back Bobby Orr. Like bring back Bobby Orr, Tom Brady, Larry Bird, and Dustin Pedroia.
I don't know about Pedroia.
No. Okay.
Or fine, Manny or Pedro.
Bring in like
Jonathan Papelbon.
We'll get it.
Julian Tavares.
Rudy Cianez. Just start listening. Vicente Padilla.
Bring in Manny Del Carmen.
You guys are forgetting Alfredo Aceves here.
To Andrew Bailey, please.
Bobby Jenks, anybody?
No. They're going to bring back NHL legend, Bruins legend, Marty Turco. He's a Bruins legend, just like the way that Gretzky's a Blues legend.
They bring in Jack Edwards to be flag banner captain.
Manny Fernandez.
So here's what I would have said. It's very simple. I don't care if Ortiz got shot 3 days ago. All he's going to be doing.
I kind of care.
I care a lot.
Selfish prick.
All you do is you have Brady push in Ortiz on a wheelchair. Brady waves the flag. Ortiz looks around, smiling in his Poppy's-like way, and then they both go off, and everyone goes berserk. It's not hard. He doesn't have to wave anything. He doesn't have to do anything strenuous.
I truthfully believe that he will not leave the hospital that he just had surgery in yesterday for another few days.
From the Garden, or am I thinking of a different hospital?
Mass General, no.
I'll look.
I don't think it'll be that far.
I feel like it's still.
The guy has gallbladder removed.
Gallbladder is not important, Kyle.
It's still major surgery. It's still like. No, it's not. I just don't think it's feasible.
It is literally less than a mile away from TD Garden.
Okay. How are you guys not seeing? Jordan's with me, right? Jordan's on board here.
I'm the one that said
he just got shot. He literally just got shot. He just got transported. It was like a med flight. It was a med flight. It was a med.
Would it be awesome?
He got a second surgery. He got one in the Dominican and one in Boston. How are you not wrapping your heads around it? That he will not be there.
Literally 30 minutes after.
He shouldn't be there.
Would it be awesome? Yes, it would be unbelievable. Will he be there?
He will not be there.
No.
He'll be there. He'll be there. I said 30 minutes after the news came out that he got shot. That would be a great flag banner captain for Game 7.
Yeah, and that is not the correct mindset to be in after Big Papi got shot.
I think
after he did it
30 minutes after he got shot, I was like, crap, what am I going to write for his obituary? Like, Jesus
well, me
Christ,
too.
bro.
Me too, but I also sent in the chat that I think he'll be the flag banner captain for Game 7.
I also said it's all right. Poppy's gonna be fine. He's a fighter, and Jeremy's like, not the time. I'm like, no, Jeremy, this is the time.
When did I say that?
You said that like after he got shot, like the Bruins had won, and I was like, Bruins won, let's go, Poppy. He's gonna be all right. He's a fighter. You're like, not the time. I'm like, what? It is the time. I'm not gonna be like, oh man, Poppy's gonna die. Like, no. Gosh.
But yeah, so I guess
I did beat you to that one, Jordan, on the flag banner captain, because you responded to it. I'm like, yeah, dude, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah,
yeah, it's got to be him, and I don't want to see a single Celtic within 5 miles of here, because I think it should be
Larry Bird,
the current batch of champions. This great run since 2000, you got to have somebody from there if you were going to use a Celtic.
Could be Pierce
doing the NBA Finals. Garnett is still probably doing some Timberwolves crap. No way they get Ray Allen back. And anyone from this current team will just curse the game, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, Rondo.
I don't want to see a single.
What if you get Jason Tatum?
Kyrie fan banner captain. Let's go.
Terry Rozier.
The only acceptable Celtic is Isaiah Thomas.
Terry Rozier has been a better player in the playoffs for the Celtics than Kyrie Irving, so you can't be like that.
What?
Terry Rozier has been a better playoff player for the Celtics than Kyrie Irving. Don't me. He got us to the games. Although he blew Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Final, he got us there.
Mm.
Don't
Anyway.
your anti-GB chum bias get to you here.
Dude's a fucking scrub.
No, I mean, like, I'm not saying that he was absolutely, like, he was good this year. He was god-awful. But, like, the only reason that they got past, like, the Sixers and even to Game 7 against the Cavs is because of Tyler Rozier.
That's not true.
And Al Horford.
Jason Tatum.
Okay, and Jason Tatum.
Jaylen Brown.
Tyler Rozier needed to play well.
Aaron Baines.
Aaron Baines went nuts, too. He was really good.
All
He was the best three-point shooter in postseason history last year.
Keyed in on Embiid, too.
And he would have done it this year, too.
Brad Stevens.
Danny Ainge.
I don't know. Tyler Rozier made more threes than Brad Stevens and Danny Ainge did.
Tommy Hines.
Paul Pierce. Bob Cousy, anybody?
Tyler Rozier.
All right, anyway, we'll talk a little bit. We did go into why we think, or why some of us think he will be, some of us think he won't be the flag banner captain in Game 7. But if you didn't catch on throughout that little 5-minute spiel, David Ortiz, what was the day? Today is Tuesday, so it was Sunday. Sunday night, David Ortiz gets shot at an amusement center in the Dominican Republic.
Yo, I gotta call someone. Hang on.
Now, this is where I would say not the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, David Ortiz gets shot in his homeland back in the Dominican Republic at an amusement center. There's been a lot of conspiracies that have come out about it, but it seems like the general consensus is that it involves some sort of drug lord and an affair David Ortiz was having with that drug lord.
It's not conspiracies, though. It's reports.
And reports that I feel like are more conspiracy than
I saw it in the Daily Mail. It can't be true.
The Daily Mail said that they had 3 law enforcement sources that corroborated what they said, and the Dominican police aren't saying no to that story. So that tells you
that's the most Daily Mail thing of all time. They're a glorified smut newspaper.
Yeah. I also read something on Twitter, but it was from some source. I feel
Twitter never lies, so I'm in.
Well, no, because there are a few sources on Twitter that have been verified to be correct and very good sources for information. But I don't remember where this came from. But it was something along the lines of the police are not speaking out about it now because they don't want to put out false information. And just in case any of these storylines aren't true, they don't want to go with something that's false, and then it would falsify information, and then that would be bad. That's probably why the police aren't speaking out on it now, because they don't know what happened.
It definitely was not a robbery, though.
No,
that video definitely was not a robbery.
And he definitely did not get shot in the leg.
No. Yeah, I don't even remember.
You know that.
Because we followed that from the very first random person who tweeted that. I don't know if it was Jordan or Jeremy who sent that to the group. Yeah, I don't know how you found that, Jordan. But
group chat on Twitter, Red Sox group chat. Somebody sent it in there, and I didn't send it right away because I was like, "There's no way this is true." It's some random person I've never heard of on Twitter reporting this. Then someone sent another one from a different random person. I'm like, okay, that's 2 people. There's a lot of internet trolls. There could just be a couple of Yankees fans just being dicks, which is very possible.
Yeah.
And then there's a third person that had a check mark next to their name, and I was like, okay, that's a verified source. There's some validity to this. And I wound up screenshotting the first one, which was a non-verified source, and sending it to you guys. And I told my mom and my dad, and they were like, what?
Yeah, that was the same reaction that my parents had. At that point, too, at least for me, the Bruins game didn't matter. As soon as I heard that news, I was literally just looking up what was happening with Poppy and
I was still really into the Bruins.
I mean, I was trying to do both, but this, it was just it put into perspective. I was listening to Section 10 the other day, and I forget which one of them said this, but it put into perspective how little. I think it was Coley who said this, how little I care about hockey and how much I care about David Ortiz's health. Because, I don't know, just
don't have to be mutually exclusive, though.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that it was 75-25, Bruins 75, Poppy 25 for me.
It was
because
just
obviously, it's Poppy. I care. If David Ortiz died that night, I would have been devastated for this entire week, even if the Bruins won. But it was still the playoffs. So,
I don't know.
It was still an elimination playoff game too.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because we didn't know what was happening, and because we didn't know what was happening, I was just so tuned in to the Poppy news, just because I don't know, it was just so scary because you didn't know what was happening, and like you didn't know if it was okay.
In the beginning, it wasn't that scary. Because
Well,
they said he got shot in the leg.
Yeah, shot in the leg. It's like that's like
Yeah,
a
but as soon as
black birth type shit, and you're like, okay, he got shot.
But even
like,
if he got shot in the leg, that's still if it hit like the artery that's in.
But like that's an area as a part of the body where like very very likely he's going to be fine, and then you start hearing reports that are through the back and exit the abdomen. Like that's when you're like,
that's when
that's when you're getting flown into Boston for extra surgery.
Yeah, if that hits something.
Yeah,
this is like
not even extra surgery. I'm willing to bet the doctor went in and went, "Jeez, look at these Dominican dogs. What did they even do here? I gotta correct all of this because let's face it, this is the best medical care in the world." So,
well, not even the best like medical care in the world, but like just Massachusetts in general is just like unbelievable. Like if you're gonna be sick or get shot, like you want to be in Massachusetts.
I'm gonna write this down. Life lesson from Kyle: get shot. Massachusetts.
If you want to get shot in Massachusetts.
But only in Boston, though. You don't want to get shot in like Worcester or something. They'll just be like, eh.
Or Lawrence.
Well, I mean, there's nothing they can do for you if it's Lawrence. I mean, you were in Lawrence. You should have known better.
You're in Lawrence is a walking death wish anyway. No, but in terms of the Ortiz thing, people were saying that apparently he was with some rapper. And they're trying to imply that is why he got shot? That's complete bull crap. There's no way that in the Dominican Republic of all places, where Big Papi's face is probably known everywhere, he's essentially royalty. He's the closest thing they got. Him and Pedro. How do you not know what he looks like? They clearly knew. It was an obvious targeted hit, which is why I thought that this drug lord thing and his wife or whatever this story is had some validity.
It could have some validity, but I feel like it's not enough to be spreading it yet, and it's like not. I don't know. It's like
definitely because you're getting into defamation territory, spread and stuff like that. Like it's very much like it's. I don't know. It seems a little too page 6 for me. Like it definitely looked like a hit of some type, but like I'm not gonna. I think the real focus on this story should be like the fact that he's okay.
Yeah.
And
like his general health moving forward, and like the updates on his health, not like the case so far, at least for now, because like as soon as whoever this dickwad is who shot him goes to trial and like it actually comes out what happens.
Well, I was reading the Boston Globe article. They didn't actually catch the shooter.
Really?
The guy that they were beating up was his accomplice.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The shooter is still at large, according to the Boston Globe.
Which is why you can't focus on just him getting better. You have to figure out motive if you're going to find this other guy who actually did the dirty deed, I guess. So I'm fine with focusing on motive. That's fine by me. Sure, you got to do what you got to do. I have no problem putting out as many theories as possible, and that's the one that I think right now probably has the most validity. Now, am I going to go around spreading it? No, it's not like I've retweeted this Daily Mail article saying that it's complete truth, but I think that this right now, people should be operating with the assumption that this is what it is. And yeah, it's a black mark on Ortiz, but you still shouldn't be getting it for it.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
I think in this instance, since they shot him in the back, I feel like it was more of a threat and less of an attempt to murder. In my opinion.
I don't know, man. Going through the abdomen sounds kind of.
I think if you really want to kill him, they would aim for the head. I really do think that. I think this might have been more of a threat than an attempt to murder.
It's valid.
Especially if it is about. I mean, I know there's no real validity to it yet, but if it is about an affair he's having with a drug lord's wife, then
that drug lord going for blood.
Yeah, that drug lord could be like, listen, dude, if you don't cut your shit, like there's gonna be a lot worse than this happening to you next time. And in all seriousness, and this sounds kind of messed up to say, if you're lucky enough to get off of like the Dominican Republic, I honestly feel like you shouldn't go back. And I know that's his homeland, but like that's kind of stuff is happening way too often. We saw it with Oscar Taveras of the Cardinals. We saw it with Yordan Ventura. They both went back to the Dominican and they did not come back.
Well, weren't those car crashes though?
Oscar Taveras was hit by a drunk driver. Yordan Ventura seemed like it was. I think it was an armed robbery.
You can get hit by a drunk driver and get robbed anywhere, though. I mean, if you're David Ortiz, like if you're rich enough, like if in any country, if you're rich enough, you can live in a safe area. Like obviously, I think as far as like health wise would go, like with like recovery wise, it'd probably be better if he was in the U.S. But like I mean, violence happens everywhere, and if you're rich enough, you can avoid it.
Yeah.
I could have sworn I heard somebody say that he was warned not to go to this specific park where he got shot, and he still went there anyway.
I mean, well, from what I read about that place, from what I read about the place where he went, it's like a big place that like all the famous people in the DR go, and like I forget what it was. It was an interview with like the guy that like drove him to the hospital, who's like one of his good friends. He's like a sports bettor or something like that. And he was like, yeah, like the place where we went, like it's a huge place for all famous people, and like famous people that are regulars there, like have their own tables and stuff like that. So, you know, it definitely seems like it was probably
junk bar. Like
it wasn't the TAM.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff, and we're still learning.
Yeah.
We're still learning more and more every single day. Like, I didn't know that he was planning on having another surgery done today, and apparently he did. Which was
I think it was when he got to Boston. I read some report that actually I think it was in the Red Sox press release that his wife said that he had another surgery done and that it was successful, and then like that he's just in recovery now. And I don't know if it was said it was in the ICU still or hold on, I'm trying to find the press release.
It said something he's going to be in the ICU for the next couple days.
Yeah, it says he is stable, awake, and resting comfortably this morning in the ICU, where he's expected to remain for the next several days. So he's still...
Except for a brief appearance at the TD Garden.
Yeah, I was about to say, the fact that it says expected gives like Jordan and Jeremy like a little bit of hope.
I mean, even if it didn't say expected, I still think he can set. It's literally less than a mile away from the Garden. You bring him there with a police escort. You wheel him out there. You let him just smile and wave to the crowd. They go nuts. You wheel him back out. You bring him back to the hospital.
Hang on, let me make this very clear. If he's not well enough to travel, I don't want him going there. But do I think he's going to be there? Yes. That is why I say this. I'm not rooting for him to overexert himself and injure himself further.
Exactly.
I just think he's going to be there.
Exactly.
Unlike the Warriors, who were perfectly happy to let their star overexert himself.
That's honestly a good segue. It's honestly a good segue. We might as well talk about that because, I mean, really, what are we going to do? Talk about how shitty the Red Sox bullpen is again? Like,
no.
Heath Hembry's good.
Okay,
I truly don't feel like talking about the Red Sox. They make me depressed now. So can we?
The Red Sox season hasn't started yet. The Red Sox season doesn't start until Thursday.
Staring down the. I almost just used another gun reference, but essentially that's what she's doing in terms of wearing a Yankees jersey. So.
I'm not wearing a Yankees jersey.
I thought that was wasn't that the bet that you made?
It was a bet.
I thought you meant like currently. No, I
was like, that is a Vineyard Vine shirt. That is very New England.
This is very not a Yankees.
Staring down the barrel of having to wear a Yankees jersey.
All I will say about the Red Sox is they didn't lose their 33rd game of the year until July 26th last year. They lost their 33rd game of the season last night, which was
and they're below 500 at home.
Yeah, and
I mean, basically at this point, it's not a conversation if they're going to win the AL East or not. It's a conversation if they're going to even make the playoffs.
Yeah. I don't think there's a chance in hell they win the AL East this season. They're not even just chasing the Yankees who are getting healthier. They're chasing Tampa, who's not hurt.
They just dropped 3 out of 4 too.
And they've been red hot pretty much all year, except for like a rough patch they hit when the Red Sox swept them at home when Chavis got called up.
Basically, I'm just praying that the Rays will beat the Yankees for the AL East. I'm just praying at this point.
Yeah, me too, because I have to wear a Yankees jersey if they don't. So
they've been absolutely atrocious against teams above 500 this year.
12-19 now because Texas is over 500.
Oof.
Good God. That was doubly for Sean last night.
Brock Holt last night. What the hell?
That was not on Brock Holt. That's on the third base coach for sending the man. He went out by like 85 feet.
You want to talk about David Ortiz and the third base coach? Do you remember? It was like 2 or 3 years ago. David Ortiz was on second, and they hit like a ground ball in the left field. And Brian Butterfield is like, go, 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 go. And David Ortiz gets thrown out by like he was basically like only a third of the way down the third baseline, and the ball was at home plate.
Exactly what happened last night.
And he just ran home. I'm like, David, like, why wouldn't you turn around and go back to third at that point? Like, what are you doing?
Go.
No. Literally, Brian Butterfield was so like, you got this. I was like, dude, a blind mouse would have known not to send him there. Like, it's David Ortiz.
Right.
Billy Hamilton would have been thrown out.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's another gut-wrenching and inexcusable loss for the Red Sox. It's just brutal, and I honestly, I tweeted this out a couple days ago, and it was just a list of players that if they were selling at the deadline, I think they should be looking to move. And I got torn to shreds for that. They're like,
Mookie should be one of them. You didn't have him on your list. He should be on that.
I thought he did.
I originally had Mookie on my list. In like a message in like a response to a Nate tweet, but I replied. In my list it was JD Martinez, Rick Porcello, Nate Eovaldi, Jackie Bradley Jr. There was Moreland's another one, and there's one other person that I can't remember off the top of my head.
I agree with that mostly, except JD. I feel like I'd rather keep him just because, like, you know, just because, like, you know, he was so important to them. But like Eovaldi, I kind of agree with because obviously he didn't live up to his contract. Well, I mean, it's kind of early to say that, but like so far, Porcello definitely.
He took Kimbrel's money, is what he did.
What?
He took Kimbrel's money. That was Kimbrel.
I really don't think that Kimbrel is the sole fix to this bullpen, though. There's so many more issues.
Not the problem.
When Eovaldi comes back, he should be the closer.
None of them have a role, and yeah, closer by committee sounds good on paper, but when Ryan
Be the closer first
outside of a barn with his fastball, and Barnes is like hit or miss, Jekyll and Hyde every other outing, you can't deal with it. It's impossible considering they're the only two relievers of any type of credibility at the start.
When Eovaldi's healthy, he should be the closer.
The thing is, Alex Cora already said he's too important to the rotation to take out of, which is ridiculous because as much as everyone hates Stephen Wright, and I hate him too, I think he should just be the fifth spot starter, and Eovaldi should go to the bullpen when he comes back because he's due to be activated. Let's say the 11th or the 10th. He's due to be activated in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
2 weeks.
Eovaldi didn't he just tweak something though?
No, I'm talking about Stephen Wright. Stephen Wright's set to come back in a couple weeks.
Ooh.
In my opinion, be the fifth spot starter, and Eovaldi goes to the closer's role.
I just got an update. If you want to cycle back to the original segue before, just got an update that the league confirmed that the refs missed a call late on Marc Gasol that should have been a foul shot. It was like that last drive that he had in when Boogie blocked him, but he actually just basically slapped him in the face.
Segue even back further to the first topic. Why doesn't the NHL have something like the last 2 minutes report and all this crap? Like, what is that?
I low-key hate when the NBA does that because it's like you can't do anything about it now. Why are you telling us? We all saw the replay. We know it was a foul. Thanks for confirming it.
Well, you want to talk about like looking at the replay and actually finding something. If you go back and look at there's one picture that it shows that Draymond Green actually blocked that last shot of the game. Like it wasn't just a terrible shot from Kyle Lowry.
Okay.
I really wanted it to be just a terrible shot from Kyle Lowry. That would have been so funny.
He had like 4 fingertips on it.
Since we're headlong into the NBA Finals talk, let me officially say I'm rooting for the Warriors in the rest of the series.
Why?
Bro, I've been rooting for the Warriors since it started.
They are who is?
I said I've been rooting for the Warriors since it started.
Really? Oh, good for you, Kyle. I'm with you now.
I don't want Canada to be happy.
Yeah, I can't in good conscience root for the city of Toronto. I really can't. I was already conflicted going in because I was like, do I want to see an underdog win, which is Toronto, or do I want to see the dynasty win? And I
not a dynasty.
Like, I wouldn't mind seeing Toronto win just because they are an underdog and it's something new, and I do like Kawhi. But now the Warriors are clearly the underdog because half of them are in the ICU, and they're just a lot more likable. I can't stand Toronto fans, and I don't like.
I wanted Toronto to win last night, though, which is why that game, the ending of that game was so lame. If I was a Toronto fan in the building last night, that would have been so awful. Like, literally, like,
on my phone, and I looked up and the game was over, and I was like, what happened?
It was it was just such a – I mean, it was great defense by the Warriors, but I don't know what the Raptors were doing, especially when they took the lead back. I think they went up 6, and they had 4 timeouts, and they called a timeout. And it was one of those things like, why would you do that? Because Curry had just missed, I think, 3 straight shots, and the Raptors had taken the lead back. They had extended it to 6, and it was one of those things they literally brought the Warriors back into the game.
Yep.
And it made no sense because the Warriors only had 1 timeout. Like, the Warriors weren't going to call their timeout there, which meant the Raptors were just going to have free reign on them until the clock ran down enough. Absolutely asinine decision.
What they were doing there.
Inexperience of a coach, I guess, maybe? I don't know.
Kawhi, though, that stretch where he scored, I think, 13 straight, oh my word.
Which is hilarious because he was shooting 4 of 15 up until that point.
He turned it on. The place is going absolutely bonkers, and they look over. It like pans over to Kawhi, and he's just like walking down. There's not even cracking a smile. I'm like, this is
the Stephen A. Smith meme.
Which one? Oh yeah, When he's like sitting at the desk, yeah.
Yeah.
That's Kawhi. That's a perpetual Kawhi, resting Kawhi face.
Resting Kawhi.
I think
I love it.
Katie Nolan did a segment with Stephen A.
I did not.
And it
Yeah,
was
it
like,
was the NBA final.
yeah,
It's time for your NBA final.
which NBA player would you rob a bank with and why? And Stephen A goes, "Yo, I'm gonna rob a bank with Kawhi Leonard because I know he'll never tell nobody." I was like, great line.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. But one thing did happen in the NBA Finals last night, that Kevin Durant returns from his calf strain, which I still think was never a calf strain.
Mm-hmm.
And is it confirmed that his Achilles was torn, or is his MRI today?
Achilles injury.
His Achilles injury. He's got an MRI. They fear that he's torn it. And the way everyone reacted in terms of like post-game press conference and whatnot, it doesn't sound like they're very optimistic. I think he ruptured his Achilles. I don't think he'll be playing next season at all. What?
I said I don't either.
So I mean, it does.
It shakes up free agency is what it did. That's
what I'm doing. That's what I'm
saying. The Knicks were the biggest losers last night, and I am so happy.
I love it.
So funny. I think
that was actually a headline in the New York Daily Post. Knicks lose Game 5.
That's so funny.
That's funny.
Durant goes down.
As if Durant was going to go to the Knicks.
I mean, there's at least a chance.
Was going to, Kyle.
I honestly...
Nah. The stars are aligning for Pat to be right, because RJ Barrett said that he wants to be a player for the Knicks. Like, he said, this is the only team I want to play for. And remember when Pat said, like, the Knicks think they're going to get Kyrie and Durant. They're just going to get RJ Barrett and Jimmy Howard. Jimmy Butler, excuse me, Jimmy Howard. No, that would be really bad.
That would be very Knicks.
That'd be really
bad
if they got Jimmy Howard.
It'd be very Knicks if they wound up with Jimmy Howard.
It would be very Knicks.
They don't even get
Jimmy
Jawan
Butler
Howard.
and RJ Barrett.
They don't get Jawan Howard. They get Jamie, the goalie. Oh, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it really does shake up free agency. And I actually have a theory that one of my buddies texted me last night. I'll wind up pulling it up, but what they were talking about on WEI today was how this shakes up free agency to the point where you know there are going to be teams out there that are going to be willing to eat the first year of Kevin Durant's contract because he's Kevin Durant, and I think a lot of teams would do that.
Signs with New Orleans.
The Knicks, the Nets, and the Clippers would probably do it.
Yeah.
The Lakers would not. The Lakers
wouldn't
get them anyway, but they wouldn't, and I don't think Golden State would either.
The Celtics wouldn't.
But the thing is, Kevin Durant.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
I think Danny Ainge would.
I mean, they technically did that with Hayward.
Yeah. They didn't know that.
Maybe they would.
I have the theory, and this is where it becomes about Kevin Durant coming to Boston, obviously. So this is.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I think my buddy texted me, goes, I think Katie's injury might make him ending. I think Katie's injury might make him ending up at Boston a real possibility. And I said, like, similar to what Boogie did. Like, I thought he'd opt out and then take like a very small contract and come to Boston and then sign a big deal after that. And he goes, look at it like this. He opts into his contract because no one will go to the Knicks and wait a year for him. Celtics trade for AD and re-sign Kyrie, which are still probably outcomes. A sign and trade around KD and Hayward looks way more enticing to Golden State now. Celtics could then use the whole year as a showcase to AD and KD. Like, look how good we are now. Just wait until KD gets back, and KD probably gets enticed to sign a 1-1 to try it out, and then AD wouldn't not re-sign after that because why would you leave Kyrie and Kevin Durant
and Boston?
That is such a terrible theory.
I'm just giving one that I had.
I would love that.
Yeah, I'd probably have to change my pants after.
My reply to that was my penis got hard reading this.
I would need to go on a shopping spree. All new shorts, all new pants, all new pajama pants, all new bathing suits, all new underwear. That was the Celtics lineup.
Jacqueline is very, very uncomfortable right now.
Sam Bustin, guys, come on, there's a girl here.
There's a lady present. There's a lady present.
Stop swearing.
My word. But yeah, that was one theory that I got. I don't think he's signing in. I don't think he's going to be traded to Boston or sign with Boston, but I do think he'll opt into his deal in Golden State.
This is the much more likely thing. Durant opts out. The Knicks sign him to a massive deal. The Celtics, meanwhile, are going to. This is still not what I think is going to happen, but this is more likely. Kyrie goes and signs a 1-1 with the Celtics because he says, look, I want to go and see if I can win a title for one more year and then go do my thing with Brooklyn. So I'm going to go and wait, and I'm going to go sign a 1-1. I'm going to opt out of the second year, obviously, and wait until KD will get over there. So either the Knicks or the Nets, will sign KD. Kyrie will go to whoever after KD gets healthy for the next year, and Kyrie's going to remain with the Celtics for one more year. Do I see that happening? No. But if so, then Danny's probably going to pull the trigger on the Anthony Davis deal, and then you could be out both Kyrie and AD the same year, which would in turn screw the Celtics again.
And on top of that, you're talking about losing Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, and Jason Tatum as well.
Exactly, because
it's all in the span of 365 days,
which is just atrocious. I would never do that.
Atrocious.
At that point, I'd just be like, Celtics, y'all hear something?
Yeah, I ran a trade through one of those NBA trade simulators, and they obviously take finances into account and everything. And you know how New Orleans has been talking about wanting a 3-team deal for Anthony Davis?
Yeah.
What if Bradley Beal got involved in it somehow?
Yeah, I saw that tweet that you said today, which makes no sense because Sam Decker's not on the Celtics after this. Like, what were you thinking? Obviously,
because the white guy would be going to Boston.
Has to be on Boston at the end of the deal.
But I don't even remember what the trade was that I proposed in the chat.
It was not great. Let's put it that way.
If it works financially and it does help other teams rebuild, they also get a ton of draft picks as well. I feel like,
but you literally have the Celtics getting Bradley Beal, who's probably at best a third option on championship team, and you don't know if Kyrie's going to stay, and AD, who's often injury prone and still could leave in the next year, and you're giving up, I think, Tatum to the Wizards you had, which is absurd.
Tatum's going to the Pelicans.
Okay.
It was Hayward.
Why would you want to face Jaylen Brown like 6 times a year? Like, that's not fun. I wouldn't do that. I just don't think it's feasible.
I don't think so either, but I was trying to look at how finances would work, and that'd basically be how it would have to line up for that possibility to happen, because it would be a 3-team deal. They said they want a third team involved, and I don't think any other team really has a player that could get involved in that deal to make it any more enticing than Washington, because Beal is one of the better 2 guards in the NBA.
AD also said, I'm pretty sure that, or there were reports that he said that he only wants to go to LA or the Knicks.
This same shit happened back at the deadline, though, and he came out during All-Star Weekend and said, I never gave a list of teams that I would prefer to go to.
Which is bullcrap. He totally did. He was trying to cover his butt.
He probably did, but did you see the thing I think it was on Undisputed, where they were talking to, I don't remember her name.
Oh, very credible.
Well, there was this woman who was like a part of Anthony Davis' entourage, and she was talking about how this whole dynamic about his personality has completely shifted since he hired Rich Paul as his agent.
Yeah, because it's LeBron.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if he gave a list. I feel like you kind of have to take risks in a market like this. You can't really.
He's going to the Lakers.
Calculated risks, though.
Yeah,
he's got to be going to the Lakers.
Yeah, but this is kind of like Toronto ponying up the dough and getting Kawhi. I feel like last year at this time, if you told me that the Raptors were going to have Kawhi this year, I'd be like, oh, well, it's 1 year and he's gone. But what happens with AD? I mean, you have to take these risks. Paul George just stayed in OKC after spending 1 year there. Kawhi's likely going to stay in Toronto. So you have AD 1 year in Boston, you win him a ring. I mean, he sticks around, I think.
But you got to win the ring, though.
But the
Celtics haven't shown that they're capable of even getting to the finals yet.
But you also put him in a dynamic he's not used to, where even if he gets to the conference finals or gets to the NBA finals, and even if you win it or not, I mean, that's a tough thing to walk away from. You're so close. You're just like, I'm leaving.
Done. Okay, so here's what I would say, though. I think
Shane Larkin did it.
Now leaves after this year.
Who?
Still think he goes to the Clippers. So if you're the Celtics, though, you're looking at this and saying, wow, this last night could be amazing for us. Philly, you basically own them. I'm not even going to count them at this point. Toronto loses Kawhi and becomes the Kyle Lowry-led Raptors. Good God, I'm scared of them. You got Brooklyn's not going to get KD or Kyrie, or if they get one of them, it's not going to be fearsome enough, especially if it's just Kyrie. The Knicks, same problem. So where does that leave you? The Bucks? I think that you could take the Bucks if you played more cohesively.
Oh, really?
If you had played more cohesively all year, I think that they could have taken the Bucks. But at the end of the day, it's all about, can you get home court for as many rounds of the playoffs as possible? And if you're only competing with the Bucks for it, I'd say yes.
I just think this finals has been frustrating to watch, in particular being a Celtics fan, because if the Celtics were here right now, they would probably be in the same situation with like everyone back and they had played consistently. It's so frustrating, the fact that the Warriors were basically without KD for this entire finals and the Celtics couldn't get there.
Yeah.
Like if Terry Rozier just hit 2 threes last year, and then like let's say we got this Golden State team last year, I think you're looking at like the scrub Celtics winning a title.
Yeah, that's also because, like, as previously stated, all the Warriors are hurt.
Yeah, I know. Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Is like this was the year for the Celtics to do it, and they couldn't get it together.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. We don't need to talk about that though. We don't like to talk about that. Anything else on the finals or how this shapes up free agency with KD being hurt before we go into the final 15?
It's going to be interesting.
I just think the NBA got a lot more interesting with this Durant injury, and also the Raptors fans who cheered after he got hurt should be ashamed of themselves.
They should. But I hate the fact that the Warriors are playing victim as if they didn't do it to Kawhi when he got hurt a couple of years ago. Yeah. There's literally a video of them cheering for Kawhi's injury back when Pachulia had cheap shot at him. And then, the Warriors players playing victim like it's never happened in their arena before. But I'm not saying two wrongs make a right. I'm just saying, like, come on.
Yeah.
But we can move into the final 15. I know Jacqueline's got her little.
It's the final 15. Okay, I don't really feel like singing anymore. So, the topic for the final 15 today is our favorite conspiracy theory. Was that what we decided on?
Yeah, I mean, I just threw it out there.
We didn't touch on
excluding David Ortiz related ones.
Yes, besides those ones. Just favorite conspiracy theories.
Kyle, you said you had a couple.
Yeah. You said you have one that would blow our mind.
I do. See, I didn't say that directly, but the fact that you said blow your mind is going to make this so much more fitting. So,
is it a JFK one?
It is.
Oh my god.
Oh, okay.
How did I know?
Have you've heard of the 2-bullet theory? You've heard of the 1-bullet theory? Have you heard of the 0-bullet theory?
No.
Think about it.
Yes, I have.
His head just did that. Think about it.
I've heard that.
My mind.
Yeah, seriously.
My word.
Well, no, see, Jack, and you basically stole the first part of the punchline of that joke and say, I have a JFK theory that will blow your mind.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I did that. Well, does anyone else have any?
I have another JFK theory that Jacob Forsback at Carlson will not be a Bruin ever again.
Yeah, probably not. He's a free agent after this year anyway.
It's a shame he never got his shot.
Nope. We had a brief.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Bye.
Well, he never got a good shot.
Yeah.
We hardly knew ye, but goodbye.
I feel really uncomfortable talking about JFK's and getting a good shot. I really do. I really do.
Anyways, any other conspiracy theories? I literally have none. So.
I mean, I just thought about it because I've been reading a ton of them about the Ortiz situation, and like for some reason, Carolyn loves to talk about the moon landing being fake, and
that's
she tweets about it all the time, and it really
is she joking?
I have never seen her tweet that.
I've never seen her
tweet it multiple times. I've seen her tweet it many times.
Why does she think why do they think it's fake just because of the flag thing in the background?
Because we love to try and downplay our own achievements.
I would actually rather say that it's probably because this Family Guy had the moon landing being fake, so she's clearly getting her sources off of that.
Smoke break.
Yeah, I don't know. That one, it's real. Like, I really believe it's real. It's real.
Yeah.
I mean, since we clearly don't have a lot to do on this topic because we ran out of ideas for this segment, did you guys see Stephen A. made his Siri A. Smith thing?
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Oh my word!
What? That's a lot of money.
It's absolutely phenomenal. He was
I love that. Siri A, send my dog walker $300. What? That's a lot of money.
Couldn't you get more interesting or something like that? It was a question that it thought was stupid or something.
Well, so you know the app Waze?
Yeah.
They have guest people that can do stuff. Stephen A needs to do one of those.
Oh, 100%.
Because you can have Gronk be your navigator on that.
Really?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
it doesn't do streets. It's like turn left up here, but it's in Gronk's voice.
Hey Grover, hang a Larry. I'm taking that from Family Guy too, but either way. Also, I think it's a touchdown for the U.S. women's national. Oh wow, it is touchdown lead for the women's national team, 7-0. Wow.
Yep.
What?
Yeah. Hey, Ertz scored too.
I forgot. Y'all wanted to talk about that. I
forgot about it too. Sam Lewis scored.
Oh, she did.
She scored twice.
Is Whitman Hanson Legends playing?
Yeah, she scored twice. Let's go. In the 50th minute and the 54th minute.
Well, I was super excited because I was like, finally a U.S. team playing in the World Cup. And then I looked, they were playing Thailand. I'm like, oh, it's just going to be a bloodbath.
My app says that Julie Ertz got it, Jacqueline, in the 54th minute.
Yeah, mine also says that.
Oh, then they must have changed it because then the one that I'm looking at, it says Sam Lewis.
Also, Kyle.
But she got one at least.
They have 3 goals and they had 3 goals in 4 minutes.
No CBS.
4 goals in 5 minutes.
Best thing to ever happen to me with this non-CBS CBS Sports notifications for like scoring and stuff.
Oh yeah, I just deleted it. It's the greatest thing in the world. Wow, jeez. Yeah, well, I'm really hoping that I'll admit that I don't know too much about like women's international soccer. Like I know a decent amount about the U.S. women's team, but I don't know a lot about like other teams. Other than the fact that I know like Germany's pretty good, France is pretty good, but like anyone who knows soccer could know that. I was really excited. So I saw I was sad for South Africa because they had this really cool like intro before their game where they were all like singing and dancing, walking. I was like, yeah, go them. And then they scored, and they were playing pretty well for most of that game. But then they just got like 2 tough penalties, and Spain ended up winning. I was like, well, that's boring.
Is the tournament double elimination, or is it just single elimination?
No, it's single.
It's group play until you get to the knockout stages, and it's single elimination.
Okay.
Just like the other World Cup.
We're gonna get Jacqueline into soccer this year. No.
I've always been into soccer. I'm into it when the World Cup is on.
You should get into it when the World Cup is not on.
I know. I've really been trying to. I just need to pick a team and then follow that team.
The Reds just hired the most successful coach in MLS history.
I know, but he's still sucks, be relevant. Isn't he? Oh, I thought he still sucks.
They haven't lost in their last 4 games, and and in his first game in charge, the interim was really good. But in his Bruce Arena's first game in charge, they beat the Galaxy away for the first time in 2012.
Oh, that's cool.
So things are looking up. They're not going to do anything this year because they don't have the roster. But like next year,
they could have the roster.
He's going to overhaul the roster so much. Well, there's this one guy, like mysterious Twitter figure, who's just called MLS Transfers, who like has sources with everyone, and he said he's like, Bruce Arena's planning some big things for the offseason, and they're like, how big? And they're like, he's looking for players that most likely will not sign in New England, but the fact that he's like looking at them shows that like the team's moving forward a lot.
That's good.
That means he's probably going for like
actually invest in a good system.
Well, yeah, no, but like that's the thing is I know that like Bruce Arena, like he didn't need to take this job. The only reason why he took this job is because he got Kraft's like word that he's going to get the funds and the commitment to make this a good team. Because like Bruce Arena, he's already the most successful coach in MLS history. It's like coached in the World Cup with the US. What?
It's like Krzyzewski or Popovich going over and coaching somewhere. Like they don't need to. Coach K absolutely doesn't need to go anywhere else, but like he's doing it because he's got like stability. Or the
thing that I like a lot is if you were going to compare any soccer coach in the world to like Bill Belichick, it would probably be Bruce Arena. So like the 2 New England coaches are like they're like so similar. Like they both run their teams in a very similar way. Like I feel like he's just kind of the perfect fit out here. So the fact they got him in general, I was like, that's perfect.
So what I'm hearing is 2020, we're going for the complete sweep, 5 championships?
Well, no, I mean, the Celtics have way too many question marks at this point. and plus, the Bruins will still need the Lightning to lose in the first round if they want to win the Cup again.
And Washington.
I would not be so sure. Steve Eisenman, they're going to be in cap hell.
All right, sure. But like I'm saying, but this year, though, like, not a chance the Bruins are in the Cup final if Columbus doesn't win that series.
Yeah, for sure. But I would also argue that I don't think Tampa would have been either.
I wouldn't even say not a chance. I think it's more about them the Capitals losing in the first round of the Lightning.
Mm-hmm. And the Capitals didn't scare me as much. But now that I think about it, though, like I probably should have been.
Capitals own Rask. He's like 1 in 15 in his career against them.
But their one win come this year on Super Bowl Sunday.
Sorry. Never mind. He's 2-15.
And look at the first game of this Bruins season, 7-0 to the Capitals. Imagine if from that point, if they actually go on and end up winning the cup.
God,
and oh my God, but just imagine this: Tuukka Rask gets a shutout in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Oh.
You need to change your pants there, Kyle?
Oh my God, dude! I would literally never let Nathan Rollins speak in my presence again.
If
that happened.
So this is, and I'm gonna knock while I say this because it's that in my mind since Game 1. When they win, I am going into work the next day, whether I'm working or not, with my speaker going in front of my Cowboys-loving boss and blasting Gloria in his face at full volume. And
my God. That's the other thing is I cannot – if the Bruins end up winning, like, they better play Gloria at the parade. Oh, my God. I would love that so much.
I'm upset because I don't think I'll be able to go to the parade if the Bruins end up winning because I'll be in Philly.
Oh, I might be working.
Oh, you're Philly.
I have to film a lacrosse tournament, and then I'll be in Jersey the whole next week.
That's a shame.
I'm going to my first Yankees game.
Jersey is more of a bigger shame, to be honest.
No, Jersey apparently is nice. Like,
no. What source are you getting this from?
No, okay. So the beaches are apparently very nice. That is what I meant to say.
I don't know, man. I've watched enough It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia to know that would not be the case.
I don't know.
Disregard that, Frank. It's a bunch of liberal bullshit.
Let me know. Hey, Jacqueline, let me know if you see Rumham there. I will beeline it down for New Jersey. That Rumham. I watched Charlie McDennis last night, Kyle. God, it's still such a funny episode.
I still haven't seen the most recent season. I need to find a way to watch that.
I do too.
Okay, well, I actually have to go. So
wrap it up, so Jacqueline.
I have to record another podcast in like 20 minutes.
For this edition of the Massholes with Mics, for Kyle, Jeremy, and Jacqueline, I'm Jordan. Have a great rest of your day, guys.
So, thanks for tuning in to Primetime Sports Talk.
No, that isn't.
TIN.
No, we aren't Primetime Sports Talk.
I know.
This has been another episode of Massholes with Mics. Okay.
It is now time for me to go and buy hats.
Time for me to go film.